On the rare occasion they actually leave Quahog, the Griffins have had some of the best vacations the show has seen. So today, we're taking a look at some of the greatest times Family Guy went international, traveling outside the US. Starting with the time the gang visited a tropical resort in the Fat Lotus, where relationships were tested, things were stolen, and not everybody ended up returning home alive.
It's awful, just awful.
So things kick off with a flash forward, revealing that someone has died on this tropical trip. We don't know who died, but judging by the fact that it's a pretty small coffin, I'm gonna assume Doug. Again. I think they just want to be safe and make sure he stays dead. But then we jump back in time to see everyone arriving at the White Lotus Bermuda Resort, which Brian happens to be managing.
Working here has been just the change I needed. I made the choice to sober up and start a new clean life.
For Brian, I'm pretty sure being sober just means only drinking on weekend nights. Had to kick those beloved 7 a.m. shots of whiskey. So everyone settles into their accommodations, but not everyone has the same intentions for this vacation in mind.
Let's have crazy vacations right here, right now.
I don't know, maybe later.
When Peter goes on vacation to get away from his life, he means every aspect of his life, including his wife. Look, he paid all that money for the room, so he's gonna get every bit of TV time out of it he can. Luckily, Stewie's being more outgoing, taking on a new persona and making some friends.
Would you join me, Jeffrey, and Dennis for dinner tonight?
Finally, Stewie has found his crowd, men who also like bears. A different kind of bear, but close enough. Stewie gets out of vacation, but his dad doesn't, and it's this inability to be adventurous that eventually drives Lois away.
I will not let you ruin another trip for me. Come on, Glenn. Let's go see that lighthouse.
Geez, buy the man dinner first. Can't get to first base until the ball's actually thrown, Lois. So that leaves Peter to enjoy his island cheesecake in peace, but unfortunately, the island gods have different plans for him.
Oh my God! And I gotta clean it all up?
A man can tolerate his wife hanging out with another guy. He can maybe even tolerate his wife cheating on him with said guy. But to have his cheesecake eaten by his wife and the other guy? Hell doesn't burn hot enough for those two. Meanwhile, Stewie decides to tag along on a volcano hike with his newfound group, but their intentions might turn out to be deadly when they reveal they intend to make a sacrifice.
They're going to make a sacrifice to the volcano, and I'm the only on this boat.
Ah, I see Stewie and Rupert only engage in acts that are considered loopholes. Still saving it for marriage, I suppose. Luckily, this isn't so much of an old-school ritualistic sacrifice as it is a self-centered millennial kind of sacrifice.
The sacrifice is that we's posting a pic with no filter and no Photoshop.
Thank you for your sacrifice, kings. You are truly braver than any known soldier, warrior, or guy with tattoos on his eyelids. Back at the resort, Peter finally decides to confront the culprits behind his cheesecake disappearance.
I know you've been eating cheesecake with my wife behind my back. You left a used napkin in the couch.
Absolutely distasteful. I mean, it's at least good that they were using protection to prevent messes, but still. Thankfully, Peter realizes he's been annoying Lois this whole trip and apologizes for driving her away.
How about we flush the whole afternoon down the tubes by wandering through a bunch of boring, overpriced boutiques?
When he wants to, Peter really can find a way into a woman's heart. Well, the trip's winding down, and thankfully, nobody of value got hurt or lost their life.
Oh no!
I know! Oh, well, I still stand by what I said. But if we must, let us hold a respectful moment of silence for Jeffrey. Okay, that's enough. But all things considered, this episode kind of makes me want to go to an all-inclusive. I just hope mine is filled with as much betrayal and death. Gone are the days of peaceful vacations. I need something to spice up my life. And the Griffin family would spice up their lives with the Italian lifestyle and boopity-boppity, even becoming Italian citizens for a time before trying to escape back to America.
Did you hear that? Low airfares. Why don't we take a trip? We never go anywhere anymore.
So Lois really wants to go on an international trip, but Peter doesn't want to do that kind of traveling. I also wouldn't doubt that there's some international law banning him from many countries anyway. But that's okay, because you can actually convince Peter to travel anywhere as long as you tell him you're going to a completely different place.
We're going to Italy.
What? But what about Seven Flags Atlantis?
If it's anything like the real Atlantis, it's not going anywhere and will be there for you to visit easily after this trip. But Lois thinks this trip will be good for the entire family, especially Peter.
It's the most romantic country in the whole world, and God knows we could use a little romance in our marriage.
Since when do romance and marriage go hand in hand? Peter really should have read the fine print on that stuff. But not even the magnificent sights and sounds of Italy are enough to drag Peter away from his favorite vacation pastime, watching TV in the hotel room.
Fine, you just sit here on the couch. I'll go enjoy Italy without you.
Which is code for finding a man who will actually show her a good time. Most people don't bring their entire family with them when they're doing their international adultery, but Lois is understandably desperate.
Hey, Lois, what the hell's going on here?
We're just having fun, Peter. Something you know nothing about.
But Peter can be cultured. Peter can become a full-blooded Italiano. All it takes is some suspenders, a little hair gel, and the assumption of what every Italian is like based on your exposure to Mario.
Mi amore! I am here to put you on a pedestal with Italian romance.
So Peter takes Lois around the city to show her how into this trip he is, ending with a romantic gondola ride.
Boat? Peter? Peter?
Come on, Lois, I got a 90% of going. It could go either way. Let's start making choices.
I'm actively making the choice to not think about Peter's crotch no matter what percentage it happens to be at. But this night of passion ends up giving the two the most romantic day they've ever had, all thanks to the power of Italy.
It's been wonderful. I wish we never had to leave.
Well then, let's not. Let's live here.
Yeah, why not? Peter's a big fan of Olive Garden, so in his mind, this would be just like hanging out in one all day, every day. No need to get anyone else's opinions on the matter. Peter's already made up his mind.
Peter, those were our passports.
We don't need them anymore.
So the Griffins give Italian countryside living a try, but unfortunately, riding your bike around and kissing dudes isn't paying the bills as it does in America. Italy hasn't found a way to monetize every little thing like us Americans. That's what makes us the greatest country in the United States. And Lois thinks it's time they maybe go back home.
But I thought you loved Italy, and Italian Peter, and Southern Italian Peter. Olive oil!
At least Italy is leading the charge on cloning. Do they all come out with mustaches like that? That's not a downside. I'm genuinely hoping that's the case. But because Peter destroyed their passports, it's gonna be a while before Lady Liberty welcomes them with open arms.
You should have your citizenship back in 16 months.
16 months?
That's 16 more months than the family can take of drinking cheap wine with every meal. Luckily, there's a second secret way to immigrate to any country. Border Patrol hates this one weird trick.
Peter, what are we gonna do?
I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna sneak in.
So the family decides to sneak back to the US by posing as full-size inflatable dolls. You know the ones. But to sell it, they're gonna have to really sell it. Thanks for taking one for the team in every place you could possibly take it, Peter. They may have enjoyed their time in Italy, but nothing beats the comfort of home. And its air conditioning. That's pretty much a deal breaker.
Although I will miss Italy. You made the trip very special for me, Peter.
But the family would also take their travels to the open ocean, tagging along on a yacht rock cruise that goes horribly wrong in the episode Yacht Rocky.
There's a yacht rock cruise that leaves from the Quahog Marina tomorrow, and I'm not even kidding.
So Peter and the guys end up getting really into yacht rock, which is a laid-back form of soft rock your dad is probably a big fan of. And they actually do entire cruises that revolve around that kind of music. Sounds a lot more relaxing than that hantavirus cruise. Why would someone even go on one of those? Unfortunately, no one specified that this trip was for bros only.
Peter, you brought your family? This was supposed to be a guy's trip.
Come on, women and children can still enjoy the smooth stylings of yacht rock. The multiple pools and the prepaid bar don't hurt either, I'd imagine. But the guys make the most of their time, getting to interact with some of the old rock stars who also happen to be on this cruise.
For the first game, I choose Alan Parsons as my teammate, but not the project. I want nothing to do with him.
I bet that joke hits so hard if you're coming up on being able to claim Social Security benefits. But not everyone is as excited about getting to meet some of these rock legends.
So, Kenny, Footloose. Not really a song for everyone.
Joe, you're in sandals. Your feet are hella loose right now. I get you probably can't feel the breeze on your toes, but trust me, they're loose. Elsewhere on the boat, Stewie and Chris are taking this time to work on their domestic dispute routine.
What does Doug Fetterman have that I don't?
A job.
One day, Chris is gonna make a happy woman into a very unhappy woman. Good thing he's getting the practice in now. But Meg is actually having a much nicer time on the boat, even managing to meet a cute boy who hasn't mistaken her for a sea cow.
You want to mess around on some damp towels next to where the seagulls crap?
It wasn't seagulls. I got locked out of my room earlier.
Young vacation love is a beautiful thing, but if your poop happens to look like seagull poop, you might not be living long enough to see how it'll play out. But when a big old wave starts to crash down on the cruise ship, it actually ends up being Meg's new boyfriend, who won't be living much longer. That was bound to happen eventually anyway. I'm pretty sure Meg is one of those species that devours the head of their mate. But a little disaster and massive loss of life isn't going to stop Meg from showing off her new arm candy.
This is Chad. He's my boyfriend. We love each other. We said it and everything.
They were Chad's last words as well. What a way to go out. And they say true romance is dead. Chad is, but romance isn't. But with the boat upside down and quickly sinking, what they really need to worry about is getting to the hull of the ship, which may be their only exit. Oh yeah, and Brian's down there.
We found him.
You guys left me down there to drown.
Technically, they left you up there to drown since the boat flipped, but they can get into semantics another time. With no visible way to breach the hole and escape, they're left with only one option, and you're not gonna like it.
Man, that was crazy.
Because they don't show it. No, you got us again, Family Guy. You really like to test the lengths of our love for you. And Quagmire would have his heart tested when the guys traveled all the way to South Korea to track down the last episode of a soap opera Quagmire was in, while also reuniting with his co-star and Candy Quahog Marshmallow.
This is Winter Summer. It was a Korean soap opera that I was in.
You were in a Korean soap opera?
So the guys decided to give the series a watch, becoming absolutely enamored with the story of love and other things, probably. From the sound of it, it's also soapy that you'll feel squeaky clean right after watching it.
But if he, Son, and Bong Hwa don't get together, I'm gonna myself.
Having a headcanon is all well and good, just don't let your headcanon make you put a hand cannon to your head. The guys binged the entire series, with the second to last episode ending on a cliffhanger.
Oh my god!
Quagmire, give me the last tape.
Huh. Sorry guys, there are no more tapes.
It definitely exists somewhere, but it's a lot harder to find than you would think. They should have gotten Justin Wang on the case. If anyone's good at finding lost media, it's him. But instead, they decided to go with a more taxing, expensive option for whatever reason.
So, we go to Korea.
Yes.
Buying tickets.
Good thing work is chill with them just leaving the country for days on a whim. You either have to be a huge stan or fleeing from federal authorities for that to be believable. And once they land in South Korea, they begin the hunt for the last episode while also taking pleasure in the amenities the country has to offer.
Hey, guys.
Peter, are you alright?
You know what? I feel good.
Plastic surgery has gone too far. Or maybe not far enough? How far do they need to go before the results start to actually look good? But despite all of their searching, the guys just can't seem to find that last episode.
No sign of winter summer.
Glenn Quagmire?
Soo-Jin?
Oh yeah, she was Quagmire's co-star on the show, and from the sounds of it, they didn't just play lovers on the show. Never fall in love with your coworker. It's a logistical nightmare for HR.
I've waited every day hoping you would return.
And I never stopped thinking of you.
Definitely think he stopped talking about you a very long time ago though, considering this is the first time we've ever heard him mention her name. But she doesn't know that, so what the heck, sure, you're the love of his life as of right now. And most importantly, she has a copy of that final episode.
Why would American Johnny leave Korea? He had everything. Love, a family.
Ooh, parallels. Quagmire quickly realizes that while he may have been playing a character, the way he felt about his co-star was very real, and since he isn't about to make the same mistake twice, he decides to stay in South Korea.
I've got Soo-Jin. I've got Buttercup and our grandcats. I've got a family.
Yeah, Soo-Jin pretty much had him the second he realized she had a bunch of cats. It would have been sad and depressing if he lived like that himself, but now that he's found her, it's totally socially acceptable. But while the guys can't convince him to return to America, the reality of his new living situation is more than persuasive.
Who's that?
This is my grandfather. He is going to live with us in the Asian tradition.
Yeah, sorry, Quagmire barely likes living with one other person, so this new arrangement probably isn't going to work out. And one K-pop song later, Quagmire's ready to return to the country he knows and loves.
Won't that upset Soo-Jin and your new Korean family?
What, you kidding? They all got to be in a K-pop song. That's all anyone here wants.
Probably the only thing people in America want too. Nothing can bring those two countries together like ripping off a whole other country's vibe and style and claiming it as your own. K-pop fans, stand down. We call these little things jokes in the real world. And the guys would go and scour the world in search of God, taking them to all corners of the earth to get the deity to stop interfering in football in 3 acts of God.
What the hell? This is such bullcrap.
Well, what are you talking about?
Isn't it obvious? God hates the Patriots. He made them lose again.
So after one too many losses for their beloved New England Patriots, Peter and the gang decide that they're going to take it up with the big man upstairs himself. No point in waiting for God to return your call. I think the last time he did that was a few thousand years ago, and he did it through a burning bush. Their hunt first starts in Kentucky at the Country Music Awards, where they try to ask for God's address from Jesus' close personal friend, Carrie Underwood.
God is everywhere. He's in our hearts, and we take him with us wherever we go.
Yeah, we're looking for, like, an address.
This God character thinks he's so sneaky, living off the grid and whatnot. So they decide to hit up the home of other gods, hoping that someone at least has a general area they should be looking in.
In Greece, it was commonly held that one could speak to the gods from the top of Mount Olympus.
Yeah, good luck getting an audience of those guys. I think they bounced and moved out of town a long time ago. Zeus just couldn't stop impregnating every living thing he saw, so it was either move or get put on a government list. They do run into somebody, though.
And I am Kronos, the god of time.
Oh, cool. What do you do?
I tell the time and make gift baskets.
Well, thank goodness he decided to stick around. Where would we be as a people if we didn't still have someone putting together gift baskets that are way more expensive than the sum of their parts? But maybe they need to try looking in places closer to God's old stomping grounds, so the guys swing over to Jerusalem next.
I had a feeling this is what this place would be like.
Oh, God, why is so hot walking downtown? Who gets married on a Tuesday?
But when they have no luck there, they decide to visit another country with a high level of spirituality, India. Unfortunately, the part of India they decide to visit is the part written by people who only have a vague experience with India, mostly the part about that dead body river.
God is not here.
Luckily, Peter's in pretty good standing with the guy who works closely with God. Not Jesus, surprisingly. We know for a fact Peter has his number, but I guess he thought after he tried to sleep with Lois that he should put that number on a block list. But the guy we're talking about is actually Death.
Death, you work with God. Will you take us to him?
Sure, I guess I could.
It's not like he has anything better going on in his life. This was his first real solid appearance in years, and this also happens to be his final appearance on the show as well. I guess a better gig must have come along.
Where the hell are we?
This is heaven.
This is heaven? Looks like a sandals.
Well, heaven is probably mostly old people, so I guess you gotta play to your customer demographic. The guys finally get to complete their mission and get God to back out of the world of sports, and they get the distinction of saying they've been to heaven and back. Now the world can finally hear the teachings God has always intended for mankind.
We don't provide towels, you have to bring your own. It's very important that you die holding towels. Have the priests not been passing this along? It's very important.
And Stewie and Brian would take Chris on a journey across the history of the United States, only to end up in the maiden voyage of the Titanic and Chris, Stewie, and Brian's excellent adventure.
Who said, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself"?
Scooby-Doo?
No.
Shaggy?
So Chris is pretty much about to fail the 9th grade, and when conventional study tactics don't seem to work, Brian and Stewie decide to use the time machine so Chris can see world history himself.
Australia before the shark tooth necklace.
This will be a question on the test. Luckily, Australia would once again be on the rise in technological advancements with the invention of the game Goon of Fortune. Goon meant something much different back then, and it's too late to change it now.
And Italy before pasta.
Hey!
Oh!
Vowel sound!
They were always a ridiculous people.
But not all of their destinations are fun and laid back. I guess the best way to prepare for a history test is to ingrain a healthy dose of PTSD into their brains.
This is D-Day.
What's that over there?
Oh, that's double D-Day.
Okay, world wars suddenly don't seem as bad. Are you telling me international conflicts could be settled with a simple wet t-shirt contest? And while they're out, they might as well change a bit of history while they're at it. Brian's gotta do a solid for all dog kind with Russian physiologist Ivan Pavlov.
Hey, Pavlov, you dog-teasing how's this for positive reinforcement?
Yeah, he probably had it coming. I'd probably do the same thing if my whole life revolved around a guy ringing a bell at me. But sometimes you change history not intentionally, but by confusing a guy for one of the world's most beloved actors.
Please take this money and use it to pursue your dreams.
Danke.
Stewie, I think that was a young Hitler.
Who knows, maybe that extra bit of money will help him get through art school and change the trajectory of his life. Finally, the paintbrush mustache's future will be saved. But despite all of this sightseeing, Chris hasn't seemed to have absorbed a lick of information.
Now, what is your biggest takeaway from our travels?
That you can't take a good nap with keys in your pocket.
Correct. That doesn't pertain to anything you'll be tested on, but you are correct. Now, if Chris can just spell his name right, he'll at least get some credit on the test. But Stewie ridicules Chris for being so dumb, so Chris decides to show how not dumb he is by making his way onto the most expensive boat he can find.
If I'm such a moron, then how did I get on a fancy boat?
Oh, that's not good. You think the people who designed this thing would have seen what happened to the Titan submersible and not have named their big boat with such a similar name. So Stewie and Brian climb aboard and hunt for Chris, running into people from all different walks of life in the process.
Have any of you seen a blonde teenage boy?
Who's asking? Yeah, who the hell are you? And I'm the baby!
Now don't come at me for this, but maybe the Titanic sinking was actually good? If it didn't, it's quite possible that everyone could have ended up looking like Peter in the future. Those are some aggressive genes. Stewie and Brian eventually manage to find Chris, but then the Titanic starts doing what it does best.
Damn! The return pad! It's been destroyed! What? The whole thing's been waterlogged!
Should have put it in a plastic bag like your mother told you. Oh well, surely someone on board has a bag of Uncle Ben's rice to throw it in, right? But their main priority is getting off this ship, and the Titanic tragedy is the perfect excuse to allow Stewie to cross-dress.
This isn't gonna work.
Brian, this is our only hope. The majority of people who got on those lifeboats were women of noble birth.
Yeah, there are a lot of babies too, which, you know, you are. But he already had the outfit packed. What's he gonna do, not wear it? Unfortunately, just being beautiful women of a higher class isn't enough, so Chris gets them a seat on the lifeboats with the lower class approach.
Get out of my way, you son of a...
Hey, it gets results. Kinda surprised more people didn't try to do that. And this works out twofold. Chris learned a little something about history, and now he doesn't have to take that test because the guy he just threw overboard was his teacher's ancestor. 3 cheers for snuffing out a bloodline!
Hey everybody, I'm Teacher Doug, and I don't believe in tests.
Yay!
And a nice girl's trip to Paris would quickly be overshadowed by Bonnie's drive to snuff out her relationship with Joe with an affair in the episode Foreign Affairs.
You ready to go, Lois?
I sure am. Oh my god, Bonnie, we're gonna have such a good time.
So Lois and Bonnie decide to vacation in Paris together, probably because they both realized it would be way more enjoyable without their husbands. They just wouldn't appreciate the essence of what makes the city so nice. It makes it very easy to cheat on your husband there. Most guys just don't understand the finer things in life.
I came here to have an affair.
An affair? With who?
Anyone?
That's always the best travel companion to have, someone who isn't very picky. You won't have to waste an hour looking for the perfect man, something that always slows down my trips. And it really seems like it's all Bonnie wants to think about on this trip.
You know what I'd really like? A piece of that.
Bonnie, for God's sake, stop it.
It is kind of disheartening to see how quickly Bonnie throws away everything she and Joe built over the years. Even if this is the visual representation of what they built, they should still be somewhat proud of it.
Joe and I have been growing apart for a long time. Besides, we've had a good run.
Yeah, one of your kids is riddled with war-inflicted PTSD and the other kid was soaking in embryonic fluids for 8 years. Dang, maybe you should have done this a while ago. And there's no better selection of men than what the French have on offer.
Would you like to sample a warm French baguette?
Oh my.
But Lois is trying her hardest to talk her out of this affair, and Bonnie seems to concede, for now. Better put that woman on a tight leash. I'm not even speaking figuratively, the French love to walk their women on leashes. Don't bother Googling that.
I guess you're right, Lois. It's just that sometimes I feel like I don't even know Joe anymore.
I feel the same way every time Joe makes a political joke or is just an all-around sad sack. This woman yearns for the early season version of Joe, and so do I. But despite Bonnie saying that she'll back off, she does find herself a little something that reminds her of home.
Look, Lois, don't make a big deal about it. I just needed a change from Joe.
Bonjour.
Okay, well, I guess this confirms Bonnie hates Joe more for who he is rather than the fact that he's in a wheelchair. Is that better? Bonnie and Francois must have a lot in common because after only a few days of hanging out together, Francois is ready to make his future all about her.
I have so enjoyed your intimacy these past few days. Will you stay here with me?
I know you're from France, dude, but surely you're familiar with the great teachings of Beyoncé. If you like it, then you better put a ring on it. But regardless of whether jewelry's involved or not, Bonnie might just go through with it.
Lois, I've thought a lot about this, and I'm not going with you.
As to be expected. That's why Lois made a call to make Bonnie face her problems head on rather than being all secretive about it.
Joe, what are you doing here?
You think he was just gonna take losing you sitting down? Don't answer that. So Joe makes an appeal to Bonnie's heart, begging her to not throw everything away, but how could he possibly compete with a guy who has everything he has, plus a nice accent?
I would do anything for you.
Well, there's one thing he can't do.
Does this confirm the true power of love, or the fact that Joe isn't paralyzed, he's just lazy? Well, it doesn't matter, because this act of passion is exactly what Bonnie needed to see to stay with him. I don't feel good about that. You should just let France have her, Joe.
Let's go home, Joe.
And Brian would also search for love when he and Stewie traveled to India in the episode Road to India.
My computer wasn't actually broken this time. I just wanted to talk to you again.
I like talking to you too, Brian.
So Brian ends up falling head over paws for a woman named Padma who works in tech support. Any woman who speaks to Brian for longer than a minute is pretty much his next romantic target. So the two talk, get familiar, and pretty soon Brian's ready to get serious about this woman he's only heard over the phone.
I know it's crazy, but I honestly feel a connection to this woman. More than I have to anyone in a long time.
This is a textbook rookie mistake. It's like believing the lap dancer actually likes you. Don't fall into your delusions. Just pay the nice lady and move on with your night. But it appears that Padma may actually reciprocate the feelings, so much so that Brian decides that he has to go to see her.
I'm going to India.
Oh my god, I'm going with you! My yoga class will be so jealous!
Yeah, just a quick little flight over to India. I'm sure the money Brian collects from unemployment should be enough to cover the costs. So Brian and Stewie arrive in India more than excited to take in the country's plentiful culture and sights.
I can already smell the enlightenment and tranquility.
I'm sure the culture and sights are there somewhere. Just gotta know where to look amidst the cows and very cramped public transport. But if you're gonna be in a new country, you should probably learn what you can and can't say first.
What I wouldn't give right now for a big juicy steak.
How dare you? To us, cows are sacred!
Sacredly delicious? I'm surprised no burger chain has hopped on that tagline yet. And since that doesn't go well, they're forced to try and make an escape.
Quick, hit the red buttons!
Man, why don't Americans have that? We have like the most buttons that can be pressed, but pressing them just makes everything worse. But after enough searching, they manage to track down the company Padma works for, and Brian prepares to romance the crap out of her.
Stand on your desk.
Brian?
Padma, just do it.
Oh boy.
Well, true love awaits, right? That's not actually Padma, just an expertly timed coincidence. The real Padma is someone Brian can love a lot easier. That's our shallow, fickle king of romance.
I am touched you came all this way to see me.
I'm so glad I did. You're even more beautiful than I imagined.
I think Brian is mostly just relieved that the plane ticket here wasn't just a complete waste. So Padma invites Brian and Stewie to attend a big engagement party her family's throwing.
So who's getting married?
I am.
What?
Well, that sounds like something you should have told the man you were never planning on seeing in person, doesn't it? And on top of that, Brian now looks like a jerk who didn't bring a gift. But Padma isn't willing to let tradition get in the way of true love.
His name is Brian Griffin, and my heart belongs to him.
Oh, that's fine. Weddings are typically something you can back out of at the last minute without putting yourself in financial ruin. Not really. Padma's father is now out a lot of money, and Brian will have to cover those costs if he wants to marry Padma.
He's holding on to an Applebee's gift card with $1.62 on it.
I do not know Applebee's.
Well, Brian has invested a lot of his money into those $1 happy hour drinks. Will he ever see a return on his investment? Does throwing up into the toilet after each visit count? So Brian has no money, no prospects, and no job. How exactly is he supposed to raise money for this wedding? By answering a very important question.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Full disclosure, I did forget that there would be more questions after that one in order to get the $1 million. Please tell me that somewhere in Brian's brain he's actually retained some amount of useful information.
D. Jiminy Cricket. Final answer.
I guess he really didn't want to be a millionaire as badly as he thought. Luckily for him, Padma's father recouped his losses by marrying away Padma's sister. So cool that you can just do that. But while that sounds like good news, this whole ordeal has put things into perspective for Padma.
I am deeply touched that you came all this way to find me. But the truth is, you and I have very little in common.
True. She does seem like a reasonable and mature person, something Brian definitely is not. So this sucks for Brian, but even instances like this can be worth it in the end.
You know what? It's about the journey, not the destination.
No, it's not. This sucked and you failed.
And Brian and Stewie would travel across the world again for the love of Stewie's life, Rupert, when they head to China to meet the bear's parents in China Doll.
Made in China? Rupert, you're Chinese?
So after Stewie realizes that Rupert originated from China, he decides to be super normal about the fact that he's technically in a multiracial relationship. This is huge because the interspecies relationship part never did wow people as much.
I want Rupert to feel his culture is welcome and embraced here.
So you've decided to talk and dress like an idiot?
That's not very accepting of you, Brian. Stewie should have every right to cosplay his boyfriend's heritage in the most shallow way possible. But Stewie does realize that Rupert's been away from home for so long and would probably benefit from reconnecting with his roots.
You want to see your homeland again. You want to find your parents.
Let's just hope Rupert's folks are pretty progressive and receptive to this relationship. You know how strict teddy bear culture can be. But the couple and their third wheel Brian end up flying to China anyway and do their best to socialize with the people.
Hey, thanks for making our stuff. Thank you. Our country stopped making stuff, so thank you for making the stuff.
Getting the authentic Chinese experience, I see. You know there's more to the country than just sweatshops. But I guess technically this is where Rupert came from, and soon enough, they end up finding who you could loosely classify as Rupert's parents.
She has Rupert's same non-smile, and he has Rupert's glassy dead eyes.
The resemblance is uncanny. So does this mean these two sired all of those teddy bears in the background? Good luck finding a wedding venue with enough seats for all of them.
There's someone here who'd like to say hello.
Okay.
Yes, it's your son, Rupert.
This is really cutting into those two's lunch breaks that they definitely don't have, but Stewie's just happy that he made this all happen.
Feel free to cry, makes for better video.
Okay.
We have so much to talk about.
So in order to bond with the in-laws, Stewie and Brian decide to crash these poor workers home for a non-consensual dinner. Look, Stewie's just a baby. Sometimes you just have to nod and go along with whatever they want to avoid a tantrum.
I just have to know, which one of you two hogs the blankets? Who does Rupert get that from?
But Stewie definitely needed to be better about how he worded certain things. Chinese Big Brother is always watching, and they'll look for any reason to add you to the prison workforce.
Someone hands me a China cup, I look away, right? Down with China, you know? Down with China.
Oh yeah, they're big time arrested. And what's worse, Blizzard's probably gonna ban them from playing all their games.
You're under arrest. The charge is espionage against China.
And now the two must spend their days working away in the prison to make the world better for everyone outside of it.
Get back to work making solar panels for American liberals.
I know you're doing this against your will, but just think of all the energy you'll help conserve. Maybe 1 or even 2 whole energies a day. Luckily, Chinese prisons are very easy to escape from, probably because they haven't been tested to hold babies or dogs. That's where the US has you beat, China.
Come on. My plan had science in it, but fine, let's do it the dirty dog way.
So the two managed to escape through a town full of Chinese stereotypes. And not a single one is doing a stereotypical accent. Look at you, Family Guy, growing and maturing. But they aren't able to escape the police force and are swiftly captured.
There's only one way out of a Chinese prison.
Death?
No, rat out someone else.
Oh, well that's easy enough. Just throw Chris under the bus for his search history and things will be a-okay.
Sorry, Chris, when you download TikTok, one of the terms and conditions is that the Chinese government can just arrest you whenever.
I knew that brain rot app couldn't be trusted. Vine would never rat me out to international authorities. And the whole Griffin family would travel overseas for their most difficult task yet, as they went to Nepal in order to climb Mount Everest in Intifat air.
This year is perhaps our biggest trip ever. We're climbing Mount Everest.
Oh yeah? Is that right? Well, so are we.
So after a dinner with the Fishmans that turned into a glorified member measuring contest, Peter vows that his family will be climbing Mount Everest alongside the Fishmans. Well, the mountain always needs more dead bodies to feed the soil, and the Griffins look like they'd be perfect for that.
I know we can't climb Mount Everest. It's just that guy really got to me, and I wanted to stick it to him.
You could just stick it to them by being an ideal loving family. Yeah, climbing the mountain is probably much easier, so Lois decides that her family is going to talk the talk and walk the walk.
I'm sick of this family always feeling second best. I want to do something we can be proud of.
Okay, well maybe take some baby steps into the realm of impressive feats. Climbing Everest is something people train their entire lives for. How about everyone in the family learns to tie their shoes first, then you can move on to the harder stuff.
You guys, we're climbing Mount Everest.
So the family heads to Nepal and prepares themselves for the culture shock they're sure to experience out there.
The people there have never seen people before. So when they walk up to you, quickly stuff a dollar bill in their mouth.
Huh, I should try that next time I'm out in public. That'll teach them for approaching me for donations for dog shelters. But when they reach the actual mountain, it becomes apparent that the simple fantasy they had in their heads does not do it justice. But nothing drives you to do the impossible like your hatred for another family.
Yes, we're here, Ross. When our family says that we're gonna do something, we follow through with it.
This may be the first time they've actually said they're gonna do something, so there's no real precedent to pull from, but good for them. Not only that, but the Griffins proclaim that they'll actually beat the Fishmans to the top.
I seriously doubt that.
Oh yeah? Well, so do I!
Well, at least everyone's on the same page. So the family begins their trek up the mountain, and it doesn't take long for them to run into their first bout of trouble when Peter falls into a chasm.
It's okay, there's a huge pile of dead bodies down here that cushion my fall.
At least their deaths weren't in vain. Protecting a fat guy from falling to his death is probably honorable enough. So the family keeps powering through, seemingly pulling ahead of the Fishmans and making it all the way to the top of the mountain.
We proved that we're not second best.
Well, look who finally got here.
You could push the Fishmans right off the top of the mountain and no one would suspect a thing. There are no laws at the top of Everest. What are they gonna do, climb all the way up there and arrest you? But before they can really take in their accomplishments, some bad news appears to be brewing on the horizon.
Oh my god.
Yeah, looks like it's closing in fast.
We're all gonna die!
But what a time to go out as the family who braved the tallest mountain in the world. Though the Fishmans also did that, so it kinda just makes this whole accomplishment null and void. The Griffins do their best to make it down the mountain, but with no food left, their only hope is a figure in the distance who might have some on them.
Oh my god! It's Ben Fishman!
Is he?
Yep, he's dead.
Well, he does technically have some food on him if the family's feeling desperate enough. Or maybe even the slightest bit curious. Once again, no one is going to come arrest you on the mountain. Just give him the honor of the buffalo and make sure every part of his body doesn't go to waste.
Oh, I thought we decided. I'm sorry.
So the family agrees to do the terrible deed in order to survive, which makes it even more awkward when they run into the Fishmans looking for their son.
Have you seen Ben? We lost him in the storm.
You have no idea the amount of restraint the Griffins are showing by not using this chance to dunk on the Fishmans. Can you blame them? They need their victories from anywhere they can get them. But when the Griffins finally make it to the bottom, Lois knows they need to do the right thing and help the Fishmans back down the mountain.
And you know how we win? You know how we keep from being second best? We do the right thing.
I guess it's better late than never to do that. Cannibalism doesn't keep you from ever doing a good thing, right? So the family treks back up and rescues the Fishmans, forever putting them in their good graces.
You're a good man.
All right, you rest up. Get better. We ate your son. Bring it up!
For about 1 minute. Don't worry, the accomplishment of getting to the top before the Griffins will be enough to fill the void. And let's look back on Brian and Stewie's first international trip together when the latter tried to fly to Europe in order to live on Jolly Farm and rode to Europe.
Dear stupid dog, I've gone to live with the children on Jolly Farm. Goodbye forever, Stewie.
So Stewie decides to catch a flight to London to go live on the fictional Jolly Farm, and since Brian isn't able to stop him, he just decides to tag along. We all have that one fictional world we wish we could live in. Mine's Margaritaville. Maybe then I'd be able to find my lost shaker of salt. Unfortunately, the plane wasn't heading to London as Stewie assumed.
Uh-oh.
Well, honest mistake. Saudi Arabia and London are spelled so similarly anyway. At least now, this gives the two the chance to engage with the culture of the Middle East in ways they never thought they'd be able to.
You like movies? I've got dude, my car is not where I parked it, but praise Allah, we are not hurt.
Finally, a movie that doesn't give away the entire plot in the title. But poorly made ripoffs aren't on the agenda for today, so the two steal a camel and head out into the desert where the poor thing promptly dies from exhaustion. That's why they always tell you to get the warranty. You don't think you'll need it until you need it.
We have to slice open our camel's stomach and shelter ourselves in his entrails.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. Or times when you just can't be bothered to look a little bit to the left.
But when you're desperate and you're staring death in the face, you have no other choice but to... Well, there's a Comfort Inn.
Yeah, but Stewie's credit card doesn't earn points at those, so sleeping in the camel it is. But their luck turns up when they get their hands on a hot air balloon the next day and use it to fly to Europe.
I didn't know it really looked like that.
Neither did I. Such lovely printing, too.
Does this mean flat earthers are right, or is this a whole other conspiracy theory I never knew about? As they make their way to England, the two get to pass through and see the sights of several other countries, like Germany.
I'm not seeing anything about German history between 1939 and 1945. There's just a big gap.
Everyone was on vacation!
Nothing more to look into there. Just shut up and eat your very big pretzel. But eventually, Stewie finally reaches his end goal of visiting Jolly Farm, which he's surprised to find is nothing more than a studio space filled with a bunch of phonies.
Whose stinky brat is this?
Oh, that's not your voice. Your voice is lyrical, like the gentle strum of a lute.
That's why they say never meet your heroes. They're all just chain-smoking douches who don't actually like you. This lesson could have definitely been learned without traveling all across the globe, but we all approach the world in different ways.
You want to take a dump in Mother Maggie's shoes? Okay, let's go take a dump in Mother Maggie's shoes.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any great Family Guy videos.